Hi folks, welcome to Hacks, Skills, and Mods. Today we're talking about my personal favorite handgun design in the world, the 1911. The 1911 is one of the two big dogs on the block. The other one's a Glock. Glock's a fine handgun, I'm not going to criticize it. There is a particular individual on YouTube who made the comment to me personally that a 1911 was shit, and so was mine. Because I like mine, it works good, runs good. And let me just say this to that individual. Tens of thousands of U.S. soldiers carried this handgun, this design. Thousands upon thousands of competition shooters use this design. Thousands of law enforcement officers carried this design. Thousands of concealed carry permit holders, recreational shooters, shoot this design. But those people are all wrong, and you, sir, are right. Yeah, that's sarcasm. Get a grip, man. You know who you are. I'm not going to criticize a Glock. I do have some criticism for Glock fanboys. If you say a Glock is a fine gun, there's nothing wrong with it, I prefer, and fill in the blank, to a Glock fanboy, you would think you slapped their mama, because that's how they're going to react. They go off the deep end. You guys need to get a grip, okay? If it's your money, spend it. Spend it on what you can use the best, and that's the thing. What works for you the best is what you need to carry, okay? And guys, we got a lot bigger problems to argue about. We need to get together and quit fussing and bickering over stupid crap that doesn't make any difference. Why do I care how you spend your money? As long as it runs good and works, that's what matters. Now, people will say that these guns break, they don't function well, and all this crap. You know, these guns have had a reputation for a long time of functioning flawlessly, and they do. Now, there are some issues with some models. This is one thing that a 1911 and an AK-47 have in common. They are designs that, and actually probably an AR-15 too, if you be completely honest about it. These three designs are excellent designs, but they've all been able to be copied by many, many companies. And some of those companies don't follow the specs correctly. If you make one of these, it's one of the best designs in the world, but if you make one and you don't make the metal hard enough, it's not going to last. If you make one and you don't follow the specifications right, it's not going to work right. It doesn't matter how good the design is. If you crap out the manufacturing, it's not going to work. No matter what we're talking about, guns, rifles, pistols, automobiles, tools, it doesn't matter. If you get off spec and you don't build it right, it's not going to work. Okay. Now, this particular firearm is a Springfield, and I have shot this Springfield in competition. I have somewhere over 13,000 rounds through this pistol. This pistol runs like a sewing machine. Okay. I can hit a milk jug, a 1-gallon milk jug, with this handgun unsupported at 100 yards. Now, I will tell you up front, can I hit it every shot? No, I can't hit it every shot, but I can hit it 80% of the time. And with an unaccurized handgun, 100 yards unsupported, a milk jug, that's a pretty big shot. And there are plenty of witnesses in my area that have seen me do it. So this is not an if or maybe, this is a I can do it. So there's nothing wrong with the accuracy. Okay. Now, one thing that I do see in some of the manufacturing is the original 1911s had a lot of slack in them, and that was part of the beauty of the design. They had a lot of slack. They rattled like a box of rocks when you shook them, but they would still stay in a 3x5 index card at 20 yards, which is really better than, you know, most people could shoot a pistol to begin with. So, you know, you can spend a lot of money and buy a lot more gun than you can hold, and you've spent a lot of money for nothing. So this one actually rattles pretty good too. So, and that's what I like. I like one that has a little bit of slack. You can see in the slide here how much the slide moves, and that's good. I don't like one that's too terribly tight. Now, some companies like Les Baer, Wilson Combat, they make pistols that are super tight. The reason that 1911s people started making them super tight was for shooting bullseye. And you can tighten one of these things up and it'll stack bullets at 30 yards. And that's not an if, that's a it will do it. The problem is the tighter you make it, the less reliable you make it, which it again is deviating from the original design. But if that's what you're going for and that's what you're going to shoot it for, more power to you. Knock yourself out. But as a carry gun, tight in one of these things is not the greatest thing in the world. If you're going to keep it spotlessly clean, that makes a big difference. I don't buy guns that I have to keep spotlessly clean because I'm not going to do it, and I know that. Okay? This particular pistol here, I decided at one point in time to shoot it until it malfunctioned without cleaning it. I shoot reloads. Anybody that reloads will tell you the powder that we can buy to reload with is a much dirtier powder than the factories load their ammunition with. Okay? Excuse me. The powder that we reload with, it either leaves some kind of grit behind or some kind of oily film or gum or something. So shooting reloads does build up in a gun a lot faster than shooting factory loaded ammunition. I made it a point that I was going to shoot this gun until it malfunctioned, and all I shot was my reloads in it. At 2,500 rounds with not one single glitch, I lost my stamina. I got tired of it. So I broke down and cleaned it. And I actually had to take a tiny screwdriver and scrape the gunk out of the locking lugs in the slide and all the little corners and stuff. I had to scrape the gunk out of it with a small screwdriver before I ever started actually cleaning the gun. That's how much crap was built up in this gun, and it still ran like a sewing machine. So when people tell you, oh, and in that time I never oiled it either. So these people that tell you, oh, a 1911 requires more maintenance or it requires more lubrication, I beg to differ. That is not the case. That is absolutely not the case. I will stand up beside anybody in competition that wants to put a Glock up against a 1911. And that's just how it is. Not saying Glocks are bad guns, not trying to criticize them. Just saying this is a good gun too. Okay? There are advantages and disadvantages to both designs. What you need to do is figure out which disadvantages you can work with and which advantages you see as necessary in a handgun. This particular pistol I bought used, and honestly it's a Citadel, and I don't think it had a box of rounds shot through it, and I put a couple hundred rounds through it right off the bat, and nothing. Worked like a sewing machine. Never missed a beat. This one is very accurate. It's actually a little tighter than the Springfield. It doesn't rattle hardly as much. Personally, I'd like it to be a little looser, but it's not causing me a problem. So this gun runs good. Yes, I can shoot it accurately at a distance, and I like that. Trying to think, since this video is an overview, what else I need to say in this particular video. I do a lot of work to my 1911s. Okay, now this is the thing. It is a lot more expensive to hand fit and machine steel than it is to injection mold plastic. Again, this is not a criticism to Glock. They obviously last and run good. So that's the two main things in a firearm. They last and they run good. The third thing would be accuracy that you need to look for, and both the 1911 and the Glock have the accuracy. So I do a lot of work to my 1911s because I don't have the money to go spend on a 1911 that is required for one that somebody else done the work to. If you can afford a Wilson or a Les Baer, a Nighthawk Customs, or a Hawk Creek Armory makes the Gent, and they're all starting in the $2,000, $2,500 range and going up. Some of them are as much as $5,000. If you've got the money and that's what you want, more power to you. Knock yourself out. Me, I don't have a lot of money. I do have a lot of skills, and working on one of these is one of my skills. Now, so I buy a lesser expensive 1911 and do the work to it myself so that it runs good. This is why some of the 1911s have issues that are made cheaply. To make something, to manufacture something cheaply, you have to cut some corners. That is an economic fact. If you're not cutting corners and you're building 1911s, your price is going to be right up there with the people I mentioned that have the higher price guns. Okay? That's just an economic fact. The guns that are built cheaper, most of the way they do that is they cut corners. Okay? So you can either buy a 1911 that somebody else done the work to, or you can do the work to the 1911 and you can buy a cheaper one and do the work to it yourself. You do need to know some things before you start doing that work. I'll go into some videos about how to do that. That's going to be the in-depth videos, the more detailed videos. This one's just an overview. Magazines make all the difference. This individual that made the comment about 1911s that did not like them has also made comments in other videos that magazines are 80% of the functioning ability of a handgun. And he is right about that. Okay? And it doesn't matter which handgun you got. The magazine is about 80% of the reliability of that handgun. And if you don't believe me, go buy yourself a Korean Glock mag. Put about 500 rounds through that mag. See how it works. It's not going to work good at all. Go buy yourself one of those no-name 1911 magazines with the rounded follower up here. This follower would be rounded up this way. Your 1911 is not going to run good because those magazines just don't work. So Chip McCormick 8-round, Chip McCormick 10-round power mag, and an 8-round Wilson. When I shot competition, I shot 10-round Chip McCormicks. I don't recall ever having a malfunction on a Chip McCormick magazine. And that's not saying I absolutely did not, but if I did, I can't remember it. These magazines just work good. The Wilsons are good magazines. If it's actually a Colt magazine, it'll have the horse emblem stamped in the bottom here. If it says Colt 45 or Colt 45 Auto or 45 Auto, but it doesn't have the horse stamped in it, it's not a Colt magazine. Now there are some no-name magazines that have a flat follower. They're a standard 7-round. They have a flat follower, and right there they have a little dimple sticking up. Those mags are actually pretty good, even though I have no idea who makes them. I've got a few of them, and they run fine. So, but these are the three that really work well under adverse conditions and just very reliable. So I think I will stop there in my overview because this video is getting a little lengthy now. I'm going to go in depth, break these pistols down, show you the modifications, help you understand how they work, what they do. Just go into more detail. So, hey, if you choose a Glock and you like it and it runs good, which they do, more power to you. I'm not trying to criticize you. Don't want to pick a fight with you. Because, like I said, guys, we got a lot bigger things to worry about than what somebody else spends their money on. As long as it runs good and they can shoot it, that's what matters. And what works for one person may not work as well for the other person. So, guys, let's quit the fussing. Let's quit the bickering. Let's just let's work together. And one more last thing. I think if you take note, you'll find that people born before somewhere around 1990 prefer a 1911 for the most part. And after that date, they generally prefer a Glock. That's a human nature thing because it's probably what you trained with. It's probably what you learned on. And we tend to gravitate towards our first love. So if you were born before 1990, there's about an 85% chance you're going to prefer a 1911 or somewhere around 1990. And if you were born after that, there's about an 85% chance you're going to prefer a Glock. And that's okay, because they're both good guns. But guys, let's quit bickering. Let's pull in the same direction. And thanks to our veterans. Greatly appreciate you guys and gals. Go check out our friends at Hawk Creek Armory. They've got a Facebook page. They have some good gun deals on there. They do some great custom work. They're starting to manufacture rifles and 1911s, and they do an amazing job at all of it. They also have a sister company that, for the life of me right now, I can't remember the name of, that does tactical training. And season's coming to get started with that again. So if you need some training, if you want a high-end 1911 or a precision rifle, go check those guys out. They've also got a wall of fame. It's a board right next to the door that has targets on it that they cut the section of the target out that has the group in it and put it on the wall when you got a 1 MOA or less, 3 rounds or more group. So go check that out. There's some guys on there that are some excellent shooters. I've seen guys on there with one hole at 200 yards and with 3 rounds through it, and that's pretty amazing to me. You folks have a great day. Thanks for watching. Like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.